welcome back to our channel. My name is Sasha Qualkenbush. I'm a real estate attorney.
I'm Shannon. I'm a real estate agent and investor.
And I'm Jackie Hurtis, and I'm a residential mortgage lender.
And we're
the Property Queens.
Today we're going to be talking about passive income and how to essentially retire off of your rental properties and their income.
Exactly. So first things first is one, you kind of need to know what your expenses are. So if you know that you have a car note and you have insurance and you have a cell phone bill and things of that nature, you want to tally up all those expenses. At this point, I wouldn't tally up what your current rent is or mortgage is if you have one already, just because we're going to go into that later on. But we want to factor in all of the things that are like cell phones, car notes, things of that nature. Make a list of all that, tally that up, and figure out what that number is. Because your goal is we're going to want to create passive income that covers all of that.
Perfect. And once you've done that, the next step is saving up a down payment for the purchase of either a duplex or a quad. It's important that you purchase one of these multifamily units, you can do this either going FHA route or conventional. It's awesome because you can get in as a primary residence, which means that you can purchase with the minimum down payment required for, you can rent out the other units. So either the one unit if you're going to duplex or a quad, you have 3 units to rent out. So you have investment opportunity, but you still get to get in with those minimum down payments going standard conventional or FHA financing. So the big step here is just saving up for that down payment.
So the next step would be to fix up the property. You're generally going to want to find a property that has some updating or needs a little bit of work. You don't want to go out and buy a duplex that is absolutely perfect. You're not going to get the value for your money, and you're not going to be able to make such a great return on your investment as you would with a fixer-upper. So go get a fixer-upper and look to do the floors, the bathrooms. Again, we've talked about it in other videos where you're going to find the most return on your investment is floors, bathrooms. You can paint, landscaping, just clean up the home a bit, depending on how big it is, if it's a duplex or a quad, and how bad of shape it is. That's going to depend on how much money you're going to spend. But usually the return that you find on that investment into the property is going to be double the amount. So let's say you spend $15,000, it could be a $30,000 increase to your property. But by doing that, you're going to be able to increase the rent. So if, for example, you purchased it and you were able to get rent rolls of previous tenants, and let's say they were renting it out for $1,000, if you fix it up, you might be able to get like $12,000 would be awesome. $1,200 or $1,300 for the rental amount just by cleaning it up a bit. So take the time to do that.
And after you have fixed up the property, let's say you have bought it, you have fixed it up, now you want to get renters in. So it's important to fix up the property, like she said, before you get renters in, so then you can start off already with those higher rates of rent. So that's going to be really important in what we're talking about next, which is also house hacking, which is where you're having, let's say you have your triplex and you have 2 renters and other units that are essentially paying the mortgage for you, and you're basically living for free. So the thing about this is, so for rough numbers, let's say you bought the property for $350,000, okay, and for easy numbers, around 5% would be $20,000, okay. So then you're only financing that $330,000 and at an average interest rate of 4.25%, let's say. Obviously, it changes
for this video. Yes.
For this video, we'll just for easy numbers, say 4.25%. So over 30 years. So basically, with all of the different rates, you're going to think about home insurance, taxes, all that stuff that goes into what makes up your mortgage. Around, let's say, $2,300. Okay, at that $350 purchase price that you got. So essentially, you're going to want to figure out how you can have those 2 units make up that rent. So at that $1,200 that she had talked about, and especially in the Nashville market, it's really, if you're close to Nashville, it's not very hard to get, if you have a triplex like that, have the other units rent out for $1,200 a month. So then you're looking at it is covering 24. So you're actually positive around $100 that you could use towards your phone bill or something of that nature, right? And the cool thing about it is over time, over those 30 years, they're basically paying off that $330,000 that you have been financing, and the whole time you're living rent free. So that is what's really important about this house hacking trick in trying to get you closer to that retirement goal.
Cool. So now you've been in there for a couple years. As Shannon was saying, the renters are in there paying off your mortgage for you. And best case scenario, you have some appreciation and the value has gone up on this property. Now you can look at cashing out some of that equity by doing either a cash out refinance or doing a HELOC, pulling the equity from that property to use as a new down payment on another property, another quad or another duplex, and you can start the process all over again. And now you'd be purchasing that property as your primary residence. So you have another room that you can rent out because you're vacating your current property. And that is obviously just building your investment portfolio, adding rentals to just get you on the path to retirement.
Exactly. So now you have a positive cash flow of not only that $100 in that property, but now you have $1,300 because now you can rent out that place that you are currently living in and go and buy another property and do the exact same thing.
Just a quick caveat to the cash out refinance. FHA will allow you to go up to 85% loan to value, which means you could pull out more cash that way than if you were going to go conventional. But if the current property that you are living in has an FHA mortgage, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to go and purchase again using an FHA loan. So just know that you can only have one FHA loan. And there are extenuating circumstances where you can get around it, but just that's one thing to be aware of. Most likely you're going to go ahead and purchase conventional moving forward.
So like we had just touched on a second ago, that she was talking about the cash refinance, and I had briefly talked about repeating that process. That's what's going to get you to that retirement goal. So whether it's $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever your expenses are monthly, you're going to want to try to figure out how you can do that passively by creating cash flow from all of these triplexes or duplexes or whatever you end up purchasing. And as long as the market bears what we are talking about as well. So just to kind of go over it a little bit again. So your first property, you now are buying a second property with the cash out refinance you have just received from Jackie. And now you have a unit that you can now rent out that has a value of, the other units are renting out for $1,200, so there's no reason why you can't get at least $1,200 out of that. Then you already have a cash flow positive of $100. So now you're having, just by buying a second property and moving into that one, you are now positive $13 from the first. So you can use that towards your expenses, and that starts eating away at that. Then you are now repeating this process on the second one, where you can live in one of them, and you have a positive cash flow again of, let's say, just $100 on this one. But now with both properties, you are positive of 14 total currently. And like I said, you just keep repeating this process till you get to your end goal. And obviously these numbers will change depending on what you end up buying the next property for, and they're not always going to be the same, but at least you kind of have a rough idea of how this process works.
Alright, and that concludes our video for today. Make sure you tune in next Tuesday. Please like, subscribe, comment below, share our video as well. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.